I just got off the phone with an executive that says, hey Matt, we love Leasing University, but we don't have a sales problem. We don't need sales training. We're great at sales. Our problem is renters that are not paying their rent. People not paying their rent. Let's unpack the problem. There's only two ways to solve it. First, with the force of the law. If someone's not paying their rent, you can use the force of the law to either get them to pay or get them to leave. This is what most of us have always done. Although evictions are very expensive and they take a long time, traditionally, property managers like us have depended on using the force of the law to get people to either pay their rent or leave. So what's going on today with everything that is going on in the world today? There's temporary laws that are protecting renters who aren't paying their rent. Some of those temporary laws may go on a lot longer than we've even anticipated. Today, using the force of the law is no longer a viable option for a lot of us, which leaves us with the only other option we have when we take the law off the table. And what's that? You can sell the person on paying their rent. You can persuade them on the benefits of making an effort to catch up, to pay their rent. Which brings me back to that executive. How could they simultaneously say, we don't need sales training, our people are experts at sales, yet their people know nothing about how to work with people that aren't paying their rent to persuade them to get them to start paying? Showing apartments in a great market and getting leases in a hot market is not sales, it's order taking. Order taking doesn't work today. In this video, I'm going to quickly walk you through the 4 steps of how to work with a prospect that's not paying their rent. This is a great sample of the type of training that our certified leasing consultants go through over at leasinguniversity.com. Let's look at the situation. You're faced with a lot of renters that have completely stopped paying their rent during these uncertain times. Why? Because they're scared about what's going on. Money is tight for them. They're scared. And consequently, a lot of us as property managers, well, we're scared too. We're trying to just make it through as well. I'm going to give you a 4-step process in order to maximize your chances with a renter who stopped paying their rent. If you get any benefit out of this video at all, any at all, please, it would really help me out. Smash that like button. And I'd love it if you'd subscribe to this channel. If you even work in the zip code of property management, hit the like button, leave a comment. I want to connect with you. Subscribe, join the legion of leasers here on this channel. First, I'm going to teach you how to use precise empathy with the renter. Then I'm going to show you the power of pausing and letting the situation sink in with them. Then we're going to ask the renter a perspective-changing question. And finally, we're going to close them on the idea of paying their rent. Step 1, using precise empathy. And I want you to remember, empathy is not sympathy. Empathy is understanding your renter's situation. Sympathy is feeling sorry for them. We're not going to feel sorry for the renter, but we're going to try and deeply understand and communicate to them that we understand what they're going through. We understand their fears. For example, let's say your renter says, with everything that's going on, my life is a total disaster right now. Start off by saying, I hear you. Your life is a total disaster. I know you're scared to death. You're desperate. You're scared this whole thing is going to get out of control and it's going to get worse for you. Now, I want to be real with you. This is exactly how your renters on the other side are feeling right now. This is exactly how people that aren't paying rent are feeling. They are scared to death. And the best way for you to kill any fear is to just call it out, shine some light on it, bring that fear to the surface. Even overdo it with them. Do not understate the situation. I want to repeat that because it's important. Overstate the situation. You can't overdo it when you're making that empathetic visualization of how scared they are. You've got to kill these fears. If they're living in fear, of course they're not going to pay their rent if they don't think it makes sense to. But here's the deal. I need you to be fearless. I need you to talk with them in a fearless manner. Again, let me walk through this with you because it's important. Your life is a total disaster. You are scared to death. You are desperate. You're scared this whole thing is going to get out of control and it's going to get worse for you. Now notice when I said that, I didn't say I'm scared too. I didn't use the word we. I didn't say we are scared. I didn't say we are desperate. I said you are scared. You are desperate. And the reason why is when your renter is scared, they don't care if you're scared too. They're caught up in their own fears. Don't use we or us or me when you need to be using the word you. Empathy is the ability to understand and communicate the feelings of another. It's not about you. Empathy is not about you. It's about them. Okay, so that's the first step. We're going to show empathy. Now the second step is I want you to go silent. I need you to fight every urge here. Just simply go silent and let what you just said sink in. Now, our data shows typically the longest you're going to have to remain silent for is right about 4 seconds. But it's going to feel a lot longer to you. You're going to want to jump in with a but, or you're going to want to answer the question for them. Don't do that. Let the impact of the statement that you just made sink in. You have to stay silent and let them make the next move. They're going to do one of 3 things. They're going to let you know they're interested in hearing more of what you have to say, or they're going to begin to express more of their fears. If they start expressing more of their fears, that means you didn't go far enough in expressing their fears for them. Or the last thing that they're going to do is forever is going to go by and they're going to still remain silent. If more than 4 or 5 seconds goes by and they're still silent, this means you're on the right track, but you haven't expressed their fears enough, which at this point I want you to say, and I haven't even expressed how bad it is. It probably feels much worse to you than I just described it. Fear inhibits thinking. We have to clear their fears out before they can start acting rational. Now for step 3, we're going to change their perspective. We're going to use a very calm and understanding voice to help them change their perspective of the situation. We do this by saying, how do we work together in a way so that things don't get worse? How do we put ourselves in a position to pick up the pieces and work together so that you still have a home when all this is over? Now we've gotten that renter to a point where they can slow down and start thinking rationally. We've also made them feel safe and secure. People love to be asked how rather than to be ordered or threatened. They love it when you say, how can we work together? We've made them feel safe and we've added in the vision of the future. The inevitable future is that they're going to have to pick up the pieces. They're going to have to start paying rent. We're showing them that all is not lost and it's easier to work together now than to let things continue to get worse. Now we're going to close them on starting to pay their rent by asking them this. Does it make sense to make a payment on the balance due now? Notice what I just said there. Does it make sense to make a payment on the balance due now? I'm not being pushy. I'm not threatening them. I've now called out their fears. I've got them in a state where they're calm and they're rational and they're thinking critically. And I'm asking them if it makes sense. I'm putting them in control by saying, does it make sense to make a payment on the balance due right now? You're going to find that a lot of times somebody's going to go, yeah, you know, I really appreciate you working with me. Yeah, let's figure out how to get this paid. Or at worst, if they say no, then you can respond with, what's a good next step then? You're putting them in control. You're not having to threaten them with the law, but they can clearly see where we're headed. You need to empathize with those renters that aren't paying rent. You need to let that empathy sink in. You've got to call out those fears. You got to shine the light on everything. And then we're going to rationally de-escalate the situation, and we're going to work with them on how they can pick up the pieces and improve their life. And they know that at some point they've got to pay rent, and it's probably the smart idea to start paying it right now. I hope you've gotten a lot out of this video. If you've gotten anything at all, please hit the like button. And I hope you see there's more to sales than saying, our people know how to show apartments, but they don't know the first thing about how to work in those difficult situations. That's what sales training is designed for, to help you get through those tough times in your career. If you need anything at all, please subscribe and leave a comment. I'm here for you. And until the next video, I want you to be great, and I want you to get those leases. The way people rent apartments has changed. Today's renter has access to more information. Today's renter has more choices. The apartment industry needs you. Studies have shown that moving is the most stressful life event. The old sales training, well, it just doesn't work today. I'd like to teach you how to take the stress out of leasing apartments in a way that's meaningful to you and your renters and get you 7 times more leases. I'll show you how the perfect leasing process works. I'm gonna walk you through everything from answering the phone to closing the lease. I'm gonna show you how to determine your prospects' wants and their needs so that you can build value in your apartments. You will learn how to handle any objection or complaint. I'm gonna show you how to connect with your renter so it's easy for them to rent with you. I've taught the best property management companies and thousands of people just like you how to lease apartments. Property management is complicated. I'll simplify it for you. There's more competition than ever before. I'm gonna show you how to be number one. All of a sudden, your career, it's gonna make perfect sense, even if you've never worked in sales or property management before. And for the advanced property manager, I'm gonna show you how to take things to the next level. Leasing University is a new, simple, step-by-step process that's effective. We're gonna help you become a rock star in property management. I'm Matt Easton, and this is Leasing University.